Yeah. I just give some question about introduce yourself, but after that I just give some question that related with my research also.
Okay.
So, what's your name?
My name is Hazel.
Hazel. And
Yes.
where are you from?
I'm from the Philippines.
Philippines. And how long have you stay here?
Here, I've stayed here for 7 years,
7
almost
years.
8 years next year.
And are you working here?
Yes, I work here. I work for a company. The company I work for is a veterinary medicine manufacturing company, and I also work for Cafe English.
Oh yeah. So, how many country you have you traveled before
How many
you?
countries? Traveled as a tourist, or have I worked at? As a tourist, I can, not that I'm bragging, but a lot.
Yes.
But as for working, it would be here in Philippines only.
Oh yes. And you stay here for a long time. So, how you feel about people in Vietnam?
I like them.
Oh yes.
I like Kanta a lot.
Oh,
Of course, there's always the communication problems,
yes.
and I have to admit that so at times it's frustrating.
Yes.
But with many English centers now, there are many people who are learning how to speak English.
Yes.
Not like when I arrived before, it's a little bit difficult to communicate with them.
Oh,
But
yes.
now there's a lot more Vietnamese people who are speaking English, so it's a little bit easier. So
Oh,
we're
yes.
getting there.
It's Amy because we just need more environment to practice English. So
Yes, that's
I
right.
want to ask you why you don't choose the job that related with your major in your country, but you just work in copy company.
It, actually, my major, I'm a pharmacist.
Yeah.
So I'm a pharmacist in the company where I work for.
Yes.
So why didn't I work in the Philippines? Well, the economy of my country is not that good,
Yeah.
and there was a good opportunity for me to work here in Vietnam. I've never been here,
Yeah.
so I decided why not? When opportunity knocks, why don't I grab it? So there I am.
Oh, so right. And what is your favorite food in Vietnam, especially in Cần Thơ City?
In Vietnam, my favorite food, I have actually two. The first one is cơm sướng,
Con sứ.
and the other one is sông ram han.
Oh yes. Are you enjoy vegetable
Yep, rau muống xào tỏi.
and onion?
Rau muống xào tỏi.
And do you enjoy tomato?
Tomato, not too much.
Oh yes. And do you have any disease in tomato now?
Am I allergic to tomatoes? No, I just not fond of it.
Oh.
I eat it. I like it
yes.
because I'm a pasta person. I like it. I like tomato sauce. But if I'm gonna eat it raw, I'll
Yes.
probably have it on the burger. I'll have it chopped up and put it in
yes.
salsa, something like that.
And I think for the customer they just know the tomato, but in order to blend tomato is so difficult because they just have many disease.
Yeah, well, because of the seeds, usually it will give you the appendix.
Now disease in tomato in plant is not disease in for human.
There's a disease in tomato. Okay,
yes.
what? Sorry.
Because in my research I just study and try to find a new ways
Okay.
to control plant disease, and I
Okay.
focus in tomato. So
Why tomato?
because that is known as the famous plants or tree in Vietnam, so it's easy to get the sample to take experiment in laboratory.
Okay.
Although if we and I'm studying biotechnology, so I just found a new ways that that have environmentally friendly.
That are environmentally
Oh
friendly?
yes,
Oh, really? Okay.
and reduce the insecticides or herbicides in the fields because
That's
it's
good. But isn't it, does tomato have an organic? You know that in vegetables there are a lot of organics coming out. So you know what organics are, right? Those are the ones that have no pesticide. And I saw a store recently on April 30th Street.
yes, I think yes,
You
I
saw
think
that?
that one kind of products in our research.
Okay.
And today I just introduced that my research just study the ways, find the ways or find the new compounds or new methods to control this disease.
Okay, that's good.
And I focus in the fungi because
Fungi.
yes, I just use fungi and reduce it as a biomass and
Okay.
treat disease in the fields.
Okay. So how does the tomato get a fungi?
Because
Fungus, sorry.
because in these kinds of fungi they just contain more more enzymes or some
enzymes,
compounds,
okay.
yes, that can resist the disease because disease is caused by bacteria. So we can use the compounds in fungi to treat bacteria that cause tomato disease. So
Okay. So where does the bacteria in the tomato come from?
that's just from the soil.
From the soil.
Yes, it's easy make tomato cereal and die. So difficult for the farmer to control in the fields. And in this way, I think that's so easy
Okay.
because in my research, I just take short time for the experiment, and after that I just apply. And the next month or next 2 months, I just apply the kinds of fungi in the fields.
Okay.
And do you
So how
have
do you
any?
make it? You have like a box and then you put in tomatoes? Is that how you do your experiment? How do you make your test?
First of all, I just do exercise in the laboratory.
Only in the laboratory, but
Yeah.
okay.
It's just one box, and I need to use fungi to control.
How many
in the box.
tomatoes do you have in your one box?
One plant.
Okay, sweetheart. If you're gonna have one, not that I am touching your experiment.
Yeah.
But in order for you to test, you cannot say that this tomato. You need to have at least several because you have a sample. Then you have other two because in one farm or one, you have many tomatoes, but not all tomatoes have fungi, right?
Yes.
So if you're gonna have in one box, just one, how can you be sure that, right? So you need at least 6 maybe?
That's it. After my experiment, that just applies to the field. But just funny that we just use a good tomato plants
See,
and
so it may cause a difference in your experiment, sweetie.
Yes.
Because the chances for you to determine about the fungi is this percent, because you only have one tomato. So if you don't mind me saying, okay? So if you want to really see that in the field what you are doing is applicable, then only on one tomato, then out of 1,000 tomatoes, how many of that can extract where you can get fungi? You wouldn't know because you only have one. So it's better if you have 6, then you have a sample, right?
yes.
From that sample, then you can determine what is the percentage.
Yeah, that's it. The next step after we do it in laboratory, because in laboratory we just use one plant that is not get disease, but we just inject
You inoculate it, okay?
inject bacteria that can make these kind of plants turn disease, and you use the other fungi and control them. After we have a good result, we just use the products to apply in the fields, and in the fields we have many trees that we need to control.
Okay. But then, sweetheart, do you have a dosage? For example, if the amount of fungi here is a lot, the percent of this tomato is this much, so you can see. I mean to say, you have in the laboratory already, you have a comparison. Maybe this one has a higher percent of fungi, this one has a lower percent. So you can, it's just a suggestion, but it's your experiment, okay? As per my experience, you can probably inject your tomato with like half of that with fungi, then you will see. Then the other half, 10%. How fast does this fungi eat up the tomato?
I think
Something like that.
Oh yes, I think that the next step we need to I need to test in the future.
In the future,
Yes,
it's up to
but
you.
now
It's your experiment.
but now I just found fungi that is trichoderma to control, and how can we apply, and I think in the future I can do it well, but now I can.
Do you need tomato? I will buy tomato for
Yeah.
you so that you can. Do you understand what I mean, sweetheart?
Oh yes, I know.
What I just mean is to save you time. Because it's gonna save you time if you write down there, okay, this one injected 50% of fungi, this one 10%, then you can easily see that this fungi, if you use this control, can help like 50% up immediately, something like that. But anyway, it's your experiment. Maybe it's different from how we pharmacists do it. It's not a problem.
Yes.
Good luck with your experiment.
Oh yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you so much. We